This is a recap here of what we told you we were going to cover at the beginning of the presentation. So having these types of connections, there's so many benefits for individuals and the organizations, as you've seen today. And by thinking about all your interactions at work as having potential for high quality connections, your students, your coworkers, your supervisors, you can not only help yourself, but others as well. Think about how you can create that upward spiral of positive emotions, how you can become a positive energizer for others, and how you can surround yourself with other energizers and be a force that provides resilience. And you know where to go when you need resilience in these challenging times. The network energy map, again, I encourage you all to even start simple with just a circle for yourself and put a circle to the next person you have an interaction with and just put a plus or a minus next to it. And then you can add to that over time just to get an idea of who you're surrounding yourself with. And if you need to minimize the negative energizers and maximize the people that are positive energizers. Get a sense of the frequency of positive and negative energizing people that you're around. And, you know, with high quality connections, remember that resilience is that outcome of having high quality connections, and that you need to continue to make regular deposits and resilience through self-care in order to really have it and prevent that emotional exhaustion and burnout, you know, and COVID fatigue and all the things that we're facing in today's challenging times. So thank you again for listening to this. I'd like to go ahead to go to the next slide. And before we start asking or answering any additional questions, I wanted to give you this final quote to end the presentation today. We need to take care of others. Self-care alone won't fulfill people's needs as we rebound from the pandemic. After many months in relative isolation, we must reclaim connection and meaning. That comes not just from caring for ourselves, but also from caring for one another. So thank you again for the opportunity to present. We'd be happy to answer any questions through the chat that you might have.
You all were so wonderful. Thank you. I'm energized every time I hear this talk, and just the three of you together, it truly brings me so much joy. And thank you for being so wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. KK, for mentoring and helping us with this awesome opportunity.
Hey, you're the reason I love my job and why I love teaching. It's this right here. Okay, so Dr. Counts has a question here. What advice would you give on how to help students connect in online courses?
You know, that's a great question. We did this relatively organically. We were naturally attracted to the discussion posts, and then this kind of spontaneous connection occurred as we started replying to each other's posts, and then we started finding humor and insights and perspective that we had. And then for us, what I'm leading to is actually some advice here. There was a watershed moment that Alex mentioned earlier. We asked for Dr. KK's permission on the last week's assignment of our first course. We asked her permission to do the discussion post as a group video. It was initially supposed to be an individual video. Through interaction with Jordan, we realized we lived relatively close to each other. So we agreed to go to Jordan's house, have some pizza, and record this video. And that's what spurred this. Now, in an online environment, it might not be possible to actually go to somebody's house logistically, but what I do think can help in an online environment is maybe instead of some of just the written discussion posts, that you encourage some group activity, whether it's a group video, a podcast, or something that might be a little non-traditional as a way to spur that collaboration and get some of those relationships going. I mean, that's what worked for us, and it was just kind of a spontaneous thing, but I think that could be replicated and encouraged.
I also think that hosting synchronous meetings is really helpful as well, because you're having that face-to-face time with your class as a whole. And so that is a great way for people to connect face-to-face, even though it's through Zoom, instead of just writing discussions every week.
Well, it's still the only question so far, I think, other than the references. We will get those to you. We have those on the following slides, but we'll have to think of a way to, put the references into a Google Doc and share a link to you for a follow-up email or something. We would love feedback, by the way. But if I could add to answer the question about what else we could do, just to throw out a few ideas. Thank you for that question. We did connect through the discussion posts. I know those are not always students' favorite thing to do, but they can be very powerful. And so there's probably some ways that the curriculum writers could play around with the requirements of the discussion post, but in a way that doesn't seem like we're adding more, but maybe, pick a partner for the next 2 weeks or something like that. I don't know, but the discussion posts, I think there's probably tweaks that could be played with to better help people connect. I also really liked when professors have offered the opportunity for Zoom meetings. I wish I would have taken advantage of those more. I'm not sure what to do about encouraging people to take more advantage of those. But I just wonder about those too, if there's maybe another way to communicate them or something like that. But I also really love quick emails back and forth from the other students. But I don't always have a reason to email a student in my class until it's like an emergency about something. You know what I mean? Like I really need them. So maybe reasons to email as well. Sharing papers has been fantastic. I love when they've gotten to look at my problem statement and things like that. That was really cool. So just some ideas. Sorry, I hope it helps, but.
And I also have a couple of things to add on to that. As an instructor, I've learned I really need to listen. And when my students are asking, hey, can we do this assignment differently? I mean, that tells me that, wow, okay, these are really smart people who want to engage in a really deep way. They're asking to do this assignment in a way that's more meaningful to them. And it's really led me to think about instruction and instructional design and how we structure things. So I think listening to students is really important. There's also a little element of luck in here too, that if we can harness this in any possible way, they formed a really strong relationship in the first class, or they started to, right? And then they were together in other subsequent courses. And so keeping that cohort together as much as possible, I think, is a really, really cool thing. And I know it's not always possible, but I would say, hey, when it's possible, maybe that's something that we can consider. Anything else? Are there any other questions? Any other comments?
Dr. Burney, I would like to just say something very quickly. As Dean, I am very, very impressed with the presentation of the students here. You have not only shown what you have learned with your professors, you have also given us new food for thought and new ways of thinking about things. I'm so happy that this is happening, because this just lets everyone know, not just ACU, but everyone. And I wish more people could see this level of scholarship that we have with our students. And I want to thank you all personally for doing this. And Jordan, you did not look nervous at all. I wanted to just thank you, and then thank KK and Heather for their leadership in these classes, and Karen, because she is the program director over this whole program. But thank you so much for everything that you have done. And thank you, Dina and the FDI team, for putting together such a wonderful presentation. I've learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We thought it was a fantastic opportunity. We were really excited and grateful that we had this opportunity. So it was wonderful for us too. Thank you so much.